Well, good evening. I am so glad to be here. You know, you've probably heard it before, a good recession is a terrible thing to waste. And we don't want to waste this one. Right now is when you need to be doing, as Desiree said, planning for next year. And what I'm going to be talking about is the people planning that you need to be doing. You know, a recession is like a two-sided coin. On one hand, right now, because there's so many great people who are out there in the marketplace, there's no reason for you to put up with mediocre performance in your own staff. There are just too many good people to choose from. The other side of the coin, recessions end. It is going to be very difficult very soon to find good people. And so I'm here to talk about how can we look at the different generations, what would motivate them, what would keep them engaged, what would keep them productive, and what would keep them on your staff. And also, how do they buy things? How do they make some decisions? So, as was stated earlier, I've spoken to a lot of CEO groups across the United States and Canada. One of the things they rely on me for is up-to-date information on turnover and what the trends are, what's coming. And here's the thing that I noticed this year. In July, there were 3 studies that said 40% of your employees, particularly those under the age of 45, are going to have their resumes on the street as soon as the economy starts turning around. That's 3 studies. By September, it was 60%. In December, there's a study that's fresh out from CCH that says 80%. And what they will leave for is more money, all other things being equal. Now this is where it's really up to you to make sure that all things are not equal. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So in your handout, we start with the generational divide. And in the workforce right now, how many people here identify themselves as baby boomers? You know, you can hardly get away from us. You know, when baby boomers enter the workforce, it's really true, we're everywhere. When baby boomers enter the workforce, there were only 2 generations in the workforce, us and the veteran generation. And we could hardly wait until they would get out of here. Notice, they're still here. Now, about 7% of the workforce is made up of the veteran generation. They're 64 years old or older. Many of them are our bosses or our board members. They're certainly our buyers, our clients. And this generation would like to work more than they are now. Baby boomers make up about 42% of the total workforce, and you know 42 and 7 makes 49. So that means Xers, Ys, and Zs are gaining on us. For Generation X, they make up about 21% of the workforce, but in fact that number is shrinking. And notice that that's not a replacement generation, that we don't have enough of them coming along. But the reason the generation is shrinking is how many women are dropping out, starting their own businesses, and they're going to be competing with us for employees. Generation Y, sometimes called millennials. Millennials make up about 30% of the total workforce. And then Generation Z is just getting out of college now. Some of you, if you're Mike's Express Car Wash or some other businesses, you're hiring a lot of people who are teenagers or college students or freshly out of college. So let's look at who's who today. And I would like to go through this grid a little bit in detail, and I'm happy to talk to anyone afterwards about where I got my data. But we basically have 4 generations in the workplace who make up the majority of our employees. The veteran generation, and let's look at it by columns. Let's look at work ethic. The veteran generation is very dedicated, and during their family rearing years, they tended to work 2 to 3 jobs, and they did it. Why? Because they wanted to give their children something that they did not have when they were growing up, and that was education, and they did it. Boomers are highly educated, especially compared to their parents' generation. We have more high school, college, and post-college graduates than our parents' generation did. Baby boomers, when it comes to our work ethic, we're completely driven. You know, the veteran generation experienced 20 to 35% unemployment. That's a lot, and I know we're going through a hard time right now. It could be a lot worse. But you know, when baby boomers got out of school, it was 13 to 17%. So for those of us who got a good job, we wanted to hold on to it. We work, give 150% to give our children things. That's what we didn't have when we were growing up. So we give vacations, technology, lessons, stuff. Now, Generation X. Generation X are the children of the people who were driven to go in early and stay late. And so their great motivator is they want a balanced life. They want to excel in 3 life areas: work, family, and self. You can't do it if you don't spend time on it. They are driven to give you 150% until 4:59, because the key will be in the car at 5:01, to give their children what they did not have: time with their parents. And no amount of economic downturn is going to turn them into workaholic baby boomers, so we need to rethink that. For Generation Y, this is a generation, these are the younger brothers and sisters of Gen Xers, and when it comes to work, they are very determined. They want to get in, get it done, get out. You know, time is the most precious thing in the American culture. We value time more than we value love, sex, or money. When you think about what you argue about with your spouse or with your employees, it's all about time. How did you spend time? How did you waste time? What are you doing with your time? Why aren't you here now? It's all about time. And this generation, the younger you go in the population, the more important time is. And the more pressure they feel never to waste time. Let's look at the next column, leadership and view of authority. The veteran generation very often served in the military, and so they are very comfortable with hierarchy. And there's really nothing more hierarchical than the military. They're very respectful of years of service, title, and rank. These are prizes to be accumulated. Baby boomers, on the other hand, hate hierarchy. We want to talk about it. We want to have consensus. And if you ask any Xers or Ys, they'll tell us, yep, we want to talk about it way too much. So we like meetings. When we have a love-hate relationship with authority, we love to be in charge, which means we absolutely hate it when we're not in charge. Now, Xers are motivated very differently. They are looking for leadership that is competent. They want to learn from you. And this is the first thing that I want to point out as a motivator for engagement and for retention. If Xers aren't learning, they'll leave. Every single day, you have an opportunity, whether it is with your employees or with your buyers, to educate them. And that's what keeps them coming back. They want to learn. Generation Y, again, younger brothers and sisters, they really want to be part of a team. That's what motivates them. And you know why? Because they come to you with a team.